What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review. Today with me, we got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
We got my brother, your brother, B.
What's up, everybody?
We got my bro, your bro, Sanj.
Good evening, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, sir. The four of us back on the mics. Tonight, guys, we're talking about what if. Those episodes have been dark and crazy lately, so let's see what the fellas think about what if. We're going to talk about Malignant on HBOMax and theaters that came out this week. Give you a spoiler and non-spoiler review. Maybe not in that order. But first, man, the topic we're going to talk about today is going to be Matrix Resurrections. The trailer finally came out this week. Set the internet ablaze. Not like Spider-Man No Way Home, but still blaze. Everybody's talking about it. Good visuals, good sound, good music, right, Brandon? And actually made me miss the Matrix. Made me want to rewatch the whole thing. But Al, you are a Matrix aficionado. What's
the
your
resident
thoughts?
Matrix expert?
I loved it. I watched it like 3 or 4 times back to back right there when it first came out. Just so much in the preview to dissect and try to figure out where they're going because, it's just a teaser. So they're not really telling you much about what they're projecting for the story. It's really just to get you interested. And I mean, between showing a lot of the blue and red and using that to show you where the characters are, at least I'm assuming. They showed clips of the original Matrix in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I'm just crazy. I don't know where they're going. Why Morpheus has to be the young Morpheus and not an aged version like them. Are they plugged back into the Matrix? Is this the proof that the Matrix was a Matrix within a Matrix?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So many different things, huh?
3 months can't pass by too fast enough right now, man.
Oh, man. Brandon, man, I mean, you saw the trailer. I mean, the music set to the video, it was like everything that the person was saying in the song was on the video. We got our red, our blue pill, we got the rabbit. But more importantly, we got Trinity and Neo.
I got the feels on this one. I was watching the trailer and I'm like, 2 parts, this is awesome, and then like the other part, I'm like, I am so sad right now. It's like seeing long lost friends. Like I've seen Keanu Reeves everywhere, but like I haven't seen Neo in like 15 years. So it's like seeing old friends and like wondering what they're up to and like why aren't you the same, bro? So I think it was a pretty awesome trailer seeing the two of them being just out front in the trailer, just like there's no surprises here. This is Neo, this is Trinity. Like, why do they know each other? And we'll get to that, but it's like it's not a surprise. Like, hey, here's the big shocker that Neo's back. No. This is all about Neo. So I think the trailer was awesome. I'm with you, Al, on the whole Yahya playing young Morpheus, which I think is because of the Matrix Online game that came out for like a year where Morpheus died,
Yes.
So that's why I'm thinking that happened, and maybe he's just as important as the one, maybe he's the new Oracle. So I'm really interested in seeing where this goes. We have Neil Patrick Harris in this, this is gonna be awesome. I'm so excited.
Yeah, man. And, one of the things that sold everybody on the original Matrix was the fact that it was revolutionary, the way that it was shot, the action, the slow-mo, all the stuff that you have there. And Sanj, when you're watching this trailer, you see the nods to all these different things, maybe some things done a new way, but it feels like the Matrix, man. How'd you feel watching that trailer?
It felt heavy, and in a good way. I really had some nostalgia for seeing Neo and Trinity there again. I mean, it was very much like, when lately, in the Star Trek franchise, how they're revisiting a lot of, old characters that we haven't seen for, 20 years or something like that. So it had very much had that feel, and it really did hit me. Like I like the Matrix. I was a fan of it and everything, but I didn't realize just how much like it hit, I really, enjoyed it and missed it until that I saw that trailer and it hit, and then they picked, just a perfect presentation with the music and the song that they chose for the background of it, and then how the cinematography of if it was just the trailer alone, even that was just incredible.
Yeah, man. And I'm wondering if we're seeing, I'm thinking like Al was saying, a Matrix within the Matrix, because I do feel like they wouldn't let the one just be a part of the Matrix. So I think that that's my personal opinion, is that it's Neo stuck in this Matrix within a Matrix, I believe, and they're going to try to rescue him to get him out, because it looks like everyone knows who he is. He just doesn't know where he is, which is kind of crazy. I love the visual effects of, again, everything that's red, the blue, the way that looks, that it's definitely shot modernly. You know what I mean? Like everything looks like it's like on Apple TV right now on 4K. But it just looks amazing, man. And I love seeing the acrobatics jumping from one thing to another, because these are the people who realize that they're in the Matrix, so they can think their way through and do different things. Just a lot of crazy stuff in the thing. The one thing I did miss besides Morpheus, though, is no Agent Smith, which kind of makes sense. If we go to the last Matrix, they pretty much eradicated him from the system. Yeah. But, is there anything that you're missing otherwise in that, Al, or you're good to go?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I want to see where they're going with this. There was a lot of visual cues that made me feel like I don't know where, again, not knowing where they're going, because in the first one, you knew when they were in the Matrix because there was a green tint. And then when they were in reality, there wasn't. This preview, this teaser, doesn't show any tint. Mm-hmm. I like the updates they did to the agents that they do show, because in the original trilogy, the transition from the agent taking over a body was very slow. In this one, you just see the blur, and then they're the agent. Yeah. So like you said, they brought up the visuals a lot, and they updated a lot of the movie. Is just seeing who's the architect, who's the Oracle, and just seeing where they go with the story. Are they going to lead into a new trilogy? I haven't heard anything about that yet, but if this movie is as good as this trailer, I can see them doing another trilogy.
I got you, man. And Saj, man, just any fears that, Brandon's long theory about HBOMax is kind of like more hit than miss. I would say like a 90% miss and with a 10% hit. Does that put any kind of fear about Matrix for you with this coming out on HBO Max as well?
No, it doesn't. Just because of who's behind it. The Wachowski sisters are revisiting their product, their story, their baby. So
I think it's just one of them. Actually.
I think it's just Lana.
It's Lana. Is doing it? Okay. All right. So either way, it's their baby, and they're not gonna let it be destroyed in any way.
Yeah, man.
So I have no worries about it.
Brandon, worried?
I'm not worried. I just hope that it doesn't get convoluted. My thinking behind that is that Lana has done a really great job in making movies and shows that are very similar to The Matrix, and they get very into the mythos of the show, and it gets stuck in between here and there. So like for instance, she made a show called Sense8, which was a really good show, and it had a really great premise. It was very Matrix-like. And then as you got on the show, it got very stuck in itself. It got stuck in its mythos, and the story kind of suffered a bit. And then in watching this trailer, a lot of the cinematography resembled Sense8 a bit. So I was like, I hope, that it's not just that it's Lana and not, the other sister, but that this story doesn't get convoluted in itself. That, you already said, like, the Matrix within a Matrix. That's such an easy thing to get convoluted, to get very stuck in, so I hope that they're able to, or Lana and her team are able to bridge past that and make the story coherent and straightforward. You only have 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours to get this movie out. I hope that it's clear.
Absolutely, man. So listen, man, when we get that next trailer, the one that tells us a little bit more about the story, we'll definitely review that trailer. And I'm telling you, one of the things I'm looking forward to this year for the remaining of 2021 is Al, Sanj, and B talking about the Matrix recap. That's gonna be hilarious.
So wait, are we gonna do separate episodes for each Matrix movie, or are we gonna do like one big Matrix recap?
Oh, one big Matrix recap, man. That's gonna be amazing.
Oh, Capitan!
Yeah, man, definitely. It's gonna be one big prep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So again, once we get more from the Matrix, I think right now it's coming out December 22nd. So guys, be on the lookout for that teaser trailer. Go check it out on YouTube. And again, when the next trailer comes out, for the story trailer that they call it, we'll definitely review that when it comes out. Now, this week, there wasn't a lot of news, so we got a chance to look forward to a movie that was supposed to be coming out. And it's funny because most of us here, we saw the preview for it in front of Candyman and in front of Free Guy. Me and Sanj saw this trailer for this horror movie called Malignant. So we're going to go non-spoiler really quick, because there's no way to talk about this movie without spoiling some of the stuff, because this shit's crazy. But I'm going to start off the non-spoiler review of Malignant that just came out on HBOMax and also in theaters, so you have your choice. I'm kind of glad I saw it at home, so I got to pause it and just look at the screen and go,
What?
what?
Rewind. Rewind.
So
Rewind.
let's lead off with this question first. So Sanjay, Malignant, stupid or genius?
Neither. It was just ignorant.
It's just ignorant.
It was ignorant.
Granted, Malignant, genius or crazy?
Benign.
I already kind of know what Al thought. Al let his feelings out on Friday night at midnight. Al, talk to me, man. You recommend this movie out there for people to watch?
You know what? Surprisingly, yeah, people watch it just because I want people to know what a movie you shouldn't see. Like,
It's a baseline.
Okay, like whenever you see a trailer and you're like, yo, that movie looks good. This is the movie to keep in your head to say, maybe it's not. Because I remember, I was like, yo, when we saw that preview, I was like, yo, that movie Malignant, yo, that looks good.
That trailer.
I told my wife, I was like, yo, it's coming out Friday. We both were like, okay, cool, we're watching it.
Yeah,
not cool.
man.
Not cool.
Todd, talk to me, man.
But so here's the funny thing, right? So remember how we were talking about like different people can watch a movie and have very vastly different opinions on it.
Yeah.
So my son watched the movie with me, and he thought in his own like words, he was like, "This was very interesting. I enjoyed that."
You get scientific with this movie, yeah.
It's because he didn't know what to say.
And I'm just like, looking over, I'm like, really? You like that? He's like, yeah, it was good. I'm like, okay, all right, son.
I gotta tell you guys, man, I started watching the movie and I was prepared for a horror movie. So I was like, all right, I got my blankie, I got my water, I got my finger on the pause button in case it gets too intense. And I remember the first like 15, 20 minutes watching it. I'm like, oh, this is kind of crazy, little ghost story. Then 20 minutes pass, I'm like, it's a whodunit? Then the twist happens, and I'm like, what the fuck? Then the last half hour, I was like, this is kind of awesome. And I don't know why. So we're gonna have to just.
I'll tell you why in the spoilers. Let's
just give what we think out there. You know, my rating scale, of course, is going to be if you shouldn't waste your time seeing it. You should rent it. You should see it. You need to see it. Kind of thing. And this one is. I don't want to say you should see it, man. But I want to.
But I want you to see it.
But I want you back to see it. Because you're not going to believe us when we tell you what happens in this movie, man. It's so weird.
James Wan's back.
So I'm just gonna say, and that's another thing. It's James Wan who made freaking The Conjuring 1 and 2 and some of the Insidious movies. So
and then Aquaman. So you got a little lost on the way.
But I'm just gonna be real. I think you don't need to rush to see this. I think this has the potential to be one of those quote unquote campy movies where people revisit on Halloween to either laugh at or to be like, this is crazy. But yeah, I think don't rush to see it. It's not one of those crazy things, but it is a crazy thing.
Would Alex characterize this as a psychological thriller?
She would not categorize this as a psychological thriller.
It was a murder mystery.
It's a bunch of shit at one time. It was
Guess
crazy.
who? It's a mystery.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be I will save that for the spoilers.
We'll save it.
Brandon, real quick, man, your recommendation for this is?
I never want to see it again, but you should go see it.
This is what I'm talking about. Saj, your recommendation.
If you have HBO Max, watch it. If not,
Because you paid $14 a month for it, so like.
or if you like have AT&T and you get it for free, through AT&T.
Gone.
Al, your recommendation for this movie?
I'm just going to say watch it just so you can say you saw it, but don't watch it because you want to be entertained, at least in my opinion. Yeah.
Gotcha.
The worst part about it, Al was like planning like a night for us to come over and like. And
that's what I'm saying. I was like, yo, this movie is good, yo.
You know what? I think that's what it is. I think you're going hard at it because it embarrassed you in your own home. You know what I'm saying? Like it let you down. It was like a kid that is like a middle child. You know what I'm saying?
I want to know.
Man.
I want to know what Al's wife looked like when she looked at him when the twist happened. Like.
Wait, can I let this out?
She probably wanted to smack him for wasting her time.
She didn't make it to it. Okay. She didn't make it through the movie.
Wow. Right.
Yeah, man.
All right. Man.
So
listen, let's just go into the spoilers of this because we're having a good time being around this crazy movie. So we're going to the spoilers now. Brandon, talk to me, man. What happened, Brandon?
We didn't even give a countdown to the.
You're like, let's go in.
Let's just go in, dude.
I just, I'll say this: the movie did a really interesting job from the beginning because, this is supposed to be a ghost movie in a sense, but the direct beginning is like, nah, everybody knows this guy. Like everyone knows who Gabriel is. Like this guy's real. He's fucking up this guy's arm. So I'm like, so he's not a ghost? I'm like, is he like a real man ghost? I'm like, how is this gonna work? So then we get into the movie and all this stuff starts happening, and I'm just like, if he's not a ghost, why does he keep disappearing? I was like, no one's that fast. Like what the fuck? Yeah. And I didn't catch on to what was going on until the detective started chasing him. And I'm watching this scene and I'm like, this motherfucker's running backwards?
See, I didn't catch that. I thought it was like bad CGI. So
like that, I was watching that was the scene where I caught on.
He was definitely running backwards.
He was running backwards, and I'm watching the scene, and I'm thinking that something's wrong with my TV because the frame rate. You're right, the CGI was kind of fucked up because the frame rate dropped a little bit. And I'm like, no, he's running backwards. I'm like, why the fuck is he running backwards? I'm like, so this is a ghost that people can see, and he's running backwards. But he's got this long ass hair, and I'm like, this shit is on the back of her head. Like, this motherfucker's on the back of her head. I was like, I don't know how, and I don't know why, but this motherfucker's on the back of her head. And then just getting there, I'm like, what the fuck?
See, I didn't even get there with all that, man. At first, I'm like, okay, they're connected. Maybe Gabriel's a twin or something. But then I kept thinking about the name. I'm like, Malignant. I'm like, isn't that like a cancer or something? Like, I'm like, wait a minute. No, is it a tumor? Like,
it's not a tumor.
I don't. And then would that twist happen where we reveal that this thing is in the back of her head? Sarge, man, how'd you do with this, Sarge? Like, were you at least like tied to the movie watching it at first?
The only reason I was tied to it watching it was because I knew we had to talk about it tonight. Because like I knew exactly what was going to happen right from that beginning scene. I knew exactly what was going to happen.
The beginning gave too much away.
Yeah, it gave it all away.
Really?
Yeah. No, I didn't have that.
We almost turned it off in the beginning.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
now.
No, I knew it's like an evil twin situation that, and then when they're like, oh, cut out the cancer. So I'm like, oh, I get it. I get what they do. So then it's like a haunting of some sort. But then when you realize what's going on, it's like, it's not a haunting. It's like a Siamese twin situation, that's still there.
Oh
man.
That's like the whole beginning showed you that it wasn't a ghost. So I was like, wait, how does this thing become a ghost? Like I was like, this doesn't seem like a ghost movie anymore.
That was the confusing part to me. And like you guys said, the beginning, Al was right though. Like the beginning, when I heard the acting from the doctors, I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, is this real?
Yeah. I was like, yo, are we about to watch a C movie that had an A movie's trailer?
Yeah.
Like, yo, this
yeah. You know what it was? It was like a bad 80s movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how the stuff in the 80s was like very campy and very hokey and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So even good 80s movies are still like that, but this was like a bad 80s movie.
Yeah, man. Al, so man, talk to me.
Kid, it felt like Shark Tornado, like in that beginning scene. Like it was horrible. The acting was horrible.
Bad.
The dialogue actually throughout the movie, in my opinion, never got better. But just that beginning scene, I didn't know if they were setting it up to be a demon, an alien, or what. Because I was like,
possession or whatnot. Like,
I was like, all right, they're not showing it, but he's actually physical, so it's not a demon. It's not a ghost or a spirit.
Right.
I said,
then control the radios.
But he's he controls electricity and is talking through the radio, so he's not human. I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, I didn't understand where they were going.
Yeah.
And they lost me. And then
They lost me when the officer showed up on the scene. He was like, my name is like Coco Le Pew. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Turn this movie off.
Yo, what cologne was he wearing? Because every woman in that movie just wanted to go to this kid.
For me, the movie like tried to be so believable until one scene when they're in the precinct and Coco and his partner get all fucked up and she's carrying him away and this motherfucker is across the thing trying to leave and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna toss this fucking chair across the room and fuck you up. Why?
Dude, with the chair landed, I was like, yeah.
I was like, what the fuck was that necessary for? He was across the room. He's like, you know what? Let me fucking do my bent arm shit and throw this chair. What aim?
Oh, that was
that motherfucker could play for the goddamn Giants. I swear to God.
Oh, God.
You know what made me stay watching the movie? Because, again, the acting in the beginning of the first, 20 minutes of the movie was really terrible. And like you guys said, I was wondering myself, like, oh, this thing is a physical thing. It's somebody that's alive. So it's most likely either a twin or a friend that got killed or taken out and is somehow back. But the part that made me kept watching was the next scene where, we had the uncomfortable scene with the married couple or the boyfriend and the girlfriend. And, she's pregnant and, and you can see that she's in an abusive relationship. And when he gets it, the boyfriend gets the murder, I thought that was crazy and scary as hell because you see the shadow behind him and then the little jab into his head, and then even when they showed his body, it was like, oh, that's morbid. Oh, Jesus. And I was like, okay,
neck bone sticking out and shit. Like that.
Dude, the head was backwards, bro. Like it was crazy. It was looking back at me. You know what I mean?
This movie that was face forward for this movie.
Dude, let me tell you something.
We should all be me.
And then it got me, like the lady was saying, she goes, there was no forced entry, this and that, but we all saw the demon kind of thing, but it could have been those things where like she killed them. So I was thinking like, oh, she's actually killing this guy or whatever, but then it got weird. But then I saw something else, which was how visually gross it is. And I'm not one for gore. I don't like gore like that. But when the second killing happened at the hotel, I was like, did she just take this guy's face off? Like what? Like that was crazy.
Stab.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. And then like the videotapes and all that stuff. Like, Science, talk to me, man. Like we get to these scenes where the murders are happening, and you had it in your head at that point, like there was something else going on, or what'd you think?
Yeah, because I already knew like where they were trying to go with it. So I'm just more like, how are they trying to go there? Which I think they had those elements, and they could have done it where they keep you on the hook a lot longer. But they interjected the gore into it, which kind of it breaks the tension, right? So you want to build in movies, like even in horror movies, you want to build that tension and keep your audience guessing. But what happens is that they break the tension with these scenes of gore and everything. So if you're going to be a gory movie, like you said, just stick to that and build it that way. But they were going back and forth between the mystery of it and the twist and setting up the twist and then throwing in the gore and then, chase scenes and fight scenes. So you couldn't develop your own emotions for it the way you needed to get the effect that they were trying to do.
Gotcha, man. And I think another one of the scenes that kind of got me, because again, I'm still trying to figure out the movie, and I'm thinking to myself, like, the cops saw the guy in the hotel room and chased him. And I'm like,
right.
How the hell is this happening? And then, Al, we get that scene in the basement where he, tries to get away. What were you thinking when you were watching that, or were you just regretting every minute you were watching?
I just was. It didn't make any sense to me because, especially in retrospect, this was somebody running backwards, and he was running, flipping, jumping, sliding.
Parkour.
I'm like, yo, he did a loop-de-loop and went through the window. Like, what? Backwards. And then I'm looking back and I'm like, wait, he supposedly just woke up and came back to life when this guy rams her head. But he knows how to take complete control, acrobatic style, backwards of her body. Yeah. Like, okay.
He can also transmit. He can also transmit FM radio. So why wouldn't he be able to?
And then, like, they were giving it away that it was her. I just didn't know how it was her.
Yeah,
because,
it was
like, they were showing the long hair, the thin build. Yeah, I just was like, okay, this is her. Clearly she's in every murder scene. She's observing it, so clearly there's like a subconscious, conscious thing going on here. The visuals, though, I'll give them that. That was good. Like when they transitioned the visual.
The rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what made me know this was supposed to be a high-end movie. But yeah, they didn't like Sanjay was doing. They like if you were gonna be a scary movie, then you didn't have to be as gory as you were. Like a lot of the best scary movies don't show you the actual murder. They show like the swipe. And okay, they got cut with a knife and everything. And then they show you maybe the effects afterwards. But like this one showed us the face getting stabbed with the trophy. And I'm like, all right, yeah, now you're not scary. Now you're just gory and graphic for the sake of being, I don't know what the intent with that was.
Gotcha. It's just crazy, man. And there was another element to the home videos, was kind of like creepy as well, but at the same time ridiculous, because she's just like, oh, you mentioned this name, look at this video, and there she is, like talking to Gabriel, but we never realized, like, she kept touching the back of her head a lot. It's just very, very crazy. And and again, when we finally realized what's really happening, I just wish we all had recorded us watching this movie, because I would have loved to see everybody's face when they realized, like, what the
okay. I would. The scene that made me wish, to your point, that I saw my face, was the scene where the two sisters are talking, and she's like, "Oh, I wanted a baby because I wanted something biological," and the other sister's like, "What?" Like that whole dialogue right there did not make any sense. Like like it felt so forced.
I think like we already knew you were adopted. Like we just we knew.
Yeah,
like this is standard.
Like everything about that movie that moved the plot along felt forced. It didn't feel like it was a natural part of that scene.
Yeah.
And that was what like kept taking me out of the movie. Like anytime I was starting to get in with the visuals and okay, I'm getting interested again.
Yeah.
The dialogue just took me right back out.
Nah, man. And like I said, the movie was kind of like all over the place as far as like drama, a little jokes here and there, mystery movie, horror movie, gore movie. And one of the things that made me laugh is when they had her in the police precinct giving a description of the murderer. the captain goes, "You want me to find Sloth from the Goonies?" Like, I was dying laughing at it. But so let's get to the part where I think it kind of gets better for some reason. I agree with you guys all that the movie was really, really bad in the beginning of the movie. But the twist comes and it was just like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm not believing this nonsense and what I'm seeing. But then we get to this scene where she's arrested and in a jail. And she's surrounded by other females that are in the jail. And I think for me, this is where the movie kind of changed into, oh, this is kind of crazy. Like, in a good way. Like, this is
the
not...
movie stopped giving a fuck about itself.
Because, and I was trying to explain this to my wife when I was trying to describe this movie, which was almost impossible. Because it's one of these things that you have to see to, like what? But there was something about the way she transformed and killed everyone in that room that was like, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
She didn't just kill him. She like whooped that ass.
She did a fucking kung fu hustle. Like they switched movie genres in like a hot second.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, Brandon, like, what was your thoughts watching the jail scene?
It was. I actually really mean it when I said I think this was the point where the movie was just like, all right, fuck it, this is what we're gonna do going forward. Like, this was the transition where they're just like, here's the twist, now let's live with it. And it was just like, it was like watching Kung Fu Hustle. Like, it was just we switched. Now she's gonna beat the shit out of every lady in this cell. As in her subconscious mind, she's just sitting there. So like, it was very interesting to see like the range of what she can do backwards, like having her do all this martial arts basically this way, so like I thought that was pretty interesting. I just think like when it got out of the jail cell and got into the main precinct and she started murking everybody, it became the Matrix for a hot second. Like, went from Kung Fu Hustle to the Matrix, and then like just like my favorite scene in the whole movie is when she tossed the chair across the room and nailed the guys walking. Like, she was better than Joe Namath. Like, come on.
Yeah, Sanj, man, what was your thoughts watching the jail scene, in there? Because I think one of the things that made me laugh a little bit, besides like some of the stuff, was the main girl that was trying to bully her in the jail was scared and throwing people at her so that she wouldn't get to her.
So the jail scene ended up being my favorite scene of the movie because, like Brandon said, at that point it's just like, fuck it. It's like, fuck it.
The twist is out. Fuck it.
They're like, we're running out of studio time. Let's just get to the end of the movie. But it was my favorite it was my favorite scene of the movie. Yeah, because of how she off the bitch that was I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Off the woman that was bullying her at first as well. Like, yeah, like, oh, and then she was like screaming to get out. She's like, let me out.
Like, even how she took out the police officer too, like, like all of that was crazy. It became the Matrix out of nowhere, like.
Yeah, Al, because I mean, after the jail scene there, we have her go into the police precinct and do some damage in there. Yeah. What was your thoughts on all of that?
Just like y'all are saying, like they just realized what kind of movie they had become at that point and the direction they had to go, and they just embraced it. Like they were like, all right, fuck it,
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
We got 20 minutes left. That's what we're doing.
Let me tell you something though. When they embraced it though, I started to enjoy the movie. And like I said, when the movie ended, I think my text message to all the three of you guys was like, So, what the fuck?
See, initially when you sent through that text message, I took it as like, oh, it was like scary as fuck. Like, oh yeah, y'all gonna be. But then your subsequent text messages were, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was like the jokey emoji and like. Dude, it was so crazy, this movie, man. And then we get to the final scene there, Al, where it looks like we're gonna call this thing Malignant or Gabriel. So Gabriel, has the I guess her sister, behind a thing there to try to take her out, and we switch perspectives because we are thinking Gabriel just shot the sister here. But we get the mindfuck and the switcheroo now.
See, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, the scene was good, but they had already given it away. So I knew that's not what happened.
They just before it happened.
Somehow, I forget how soon before they said, they see, like, he can make her see what he wanted. Like, they had the whole scene with the knife over the belly, making her think she was about to cut a cake. So I'm all right, she's just doing it back to him. So
and
I knew
the sister was like, oh, you have the strength, you could turn it around just before it happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, visually it was good, but like I was saying before, like this whole movie, like there was no subtlety to anything. I felt like everything was very heavy-handed with what they were trying to do.
Right.
And like, so that scene, although played off visually very well.
Right.
To me, I knew that twist was coming. Like I said, she's not dead. She's just making him see that he successfully killed her and killed the other one, and this is her taking the upper hand.
Gotcha, man.
I don't know what movie it was. I forget the name of the movie. But like, did you guys get the vibes when she had him in the jail cell and he was like, oh, one of these days I'm gonna break out? She goes, and when you do, I'll be ready.
No, you know what movie that was?
What movie is it? X-Men. Magneto, right?
Yes.
I was trying to think. I'm like, what scene is that from? Like, it's a direct ripoff.
Yeah, when Professor's like, and I'll be there between you and them.
When I heard that line in the movie, I was like, cheesy.
I was like, that's a direct ripoff.
Yeah, I mean, so Saz, what was your thoughts on that ending, man? I mean, because the whole thought process of it is, she's putting her in a mental jail cell so that hopefully Gabriel never comes back out.
See, that scene really hit home for me because those are the kind of conversations I have with Mr. Hyde that I lock away in the back of my brain there.
Yeah.
So that kind of like, okay, yeah, so I'm not the only one.
You're like, oh, that's how I should do it.
Right. Mr. Hyde, once he gets out.
The last thing we got there to end the movie is, of course, a hint or a nod to a possible part 2 of this thing or a sequel. Okay,
that was just faulty wiring in the hospital. It was
nothing wrong with the bulb.
I gotta change my bulbs too sometimes. I don't know, like I gotta buy some new LEDs. That's what it's gotta be.
All right, so like we can all agree that the movie was pretty weird and in some ways terrible, in some ways okay and cool, which is crazy, stupid and genius. Fred is still that with it.
Listen, I'm gonna go to The Simpsons for like if Nelson Muntz were like reviewing this movie, he'd be like, it didn't totally suck, Nard. That's like the review for the movie. Like, it didn't totally suck, Nard.
There you go. Brandon, any interest in watching a part 2 of this or a sequel to the Malignant series here?
I don't even want to know what that would look like. I don't want to see 5 people that have people on the back of their heads. I don't want to see that.
Like, I don't want to see where he comes out of next.
Yeah, like. This movie was the cinematic representation of HBOMax. That's it. That's it.
put HBO Max back in his cage.
That's it. I thought I was doing good.
any interest, if they tell you, listen, we're going to work on it, we're going to make it better, it's going to be even better graphic, a better story, any interest in a Malignant 2?
Any interest in it? No. Would I give it a chance if it's happens to be on HBO Max again and they make that promise, like, oh, the story is so much better that maybe, like, if I'm on a rainy Sunday and there's no football and got nothing to do.
How much is it raining?
How much is it raining?
How much is it raining?
I don't want to go out.
Cat 5 hurricane.
Limited Wi-Fi.
Or you know what it's like? This made HBO look like Gabriel to Disney Plus's normal
Man.
They're like
keep it in the cage.
Man.
Keep it in the cage.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This year HBO had some hits, man, but they're missing on the movies here a little bit,
Yeah, man. Wow. So, guys, hear it, man. This is our Malignant review because I'm telling you guys, you got to give it a shot. Even with us just spoiling it just now, I think it's still something that you should at least experience once.
I think people are gonna listen to us and be like, it can't be that bad. They've got to be like exaggerating. Or these guys just being jerks. And then they're gonna go see it. And they'll be like, yo, these guys weren't kidding.
If you think that you can run backwards and then jump over a desk backwards, then go watch it.
Go watch it.
It's gonna be. You know what it is? It's gonna become like a parkour like cult classic. Like anybody that's into parkour, like you said.
Kid, that's what I'm afraid of. It is gonna happen. You're gonna see people dressed up as that shit for Halloween.
Like, yeah, bro.
Walking backwards. Crazy, man. So listen, you guys listening out there, you hear us. We're losing our minds with this movie. So let us know, man. Comment below on the YouTube page there. Let us know. Did you get a chance to watch Malignant? And do you feel sorry for yourself for watching it? Or if you're listening on your podcast app, man, did you laugh as much as we just did about this thing? Email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. That's REEL, Real Fan Review. Now let's get into the last topic of today, which is something we haven't had a chance to talk about because we've been full with different things that we've watched and other topics that we've been talking about. Let's talk about Marvel's Disney Plus series, What If, which I completely did not expect a lot from, and I have been pleasantly surprised with the last couple of episodes there. The last 3 episodes, to be honest with you. The first 2 were okay, and Agent Carter. What if Agent Carter became the soldier that they did the experiment on? I think part 2 was what if T'Challa had been taken instead of a Star-Lord that we know. And then part 3 was where I think things started to change for me with What If, because the first 2 episodes were cool. I thought the first one was all right. The second one was better. The third one, which is What If the Avengers Never Assembled. And I got to tell you guys, man, that one and What If Doctor Strange didn't lose his hands but lost his heart. And the most recent one was his What If the Avengers Were Zombies. Dude, all 3 of those last 3 there, crazy. San, did you get a chance to watch What Ifs or these series?
I watched all 5 of them, and it was crazy how those last 3 went so dark.
And I think you, my brother, appreciate something good that's dark like that.
I do.
Yeah.
And like it really makes, especially like the Doctor Strange one, where he basically collapsed the universe and it's just him. And like when he was eating like all the souls or the energy of all those demons, and like you really didn't get the idea that the sense that he had been at it for like centuries.
Right.
But then when he came out of the dark and just like presents himself, you're like, yo, this guy is nuts.
Yeah.
He's like really demented and crazy. And it was a little scary. Like that was scary.
You know what caught me the most, Sanj, on that one is the way that it ended. It ended on such a bad note and such a sad note, and just it didn't have anywhere positive to go from that episode. And I was just like, that's deep, dude. That's deep. Yeah, crazy, man.
Especially when he was asking the Watcher, like do something. You can do this, and the Watcher's like, no, you were told. Basically.
2 fingers up. Actually that was also pretty crazy. Was he got so powerful, he felt the Watcher watching, and also could have a conversation with him towards the end.
I told you it was gonna happen. I feel like the more episodes we get in, the more the Watcher is gonna have to like interlude into something, kind of a thing. Like, I think that's how this is progressing.
Yeah, man. Al, out of these episodes of What If, again, my brother, I'm not sure if you've been watching them or you've caught up with them, but has there been one that landed more to you than the others, or how are you feeling with this series?
The one that got me more, well, I've been watching all of them as they come out. Me and my stepson sit down, we watch them together. Actually, all of the Marvel series, as they've come out, we've been watching them. But the one that got me the most was the one where if the Avengers had never assembled. Oh. Only because that one was the one that most epitomized. What I'm taking from these episodes is how these one events can trickle down and have such a big domino effect on the lives of the people affected. You have the T'Challa, what if he had been kidnapped and so forth. But that one, because you have Hope dying instead of living, and you see the effect it had on the father, and instead of being, the creator of the technology and using it for the benefit, you see how evil and dark his mind went, to the point where he was willing to just kill. And the domino that it had, and then how that impacted the rest of the world. Like, okay, you go, that one person has basically a bad day, and look at the domino effect, because now, that one just took me and said, wow, this one really just showed how that one little change can have such a big effect.
Right, and that one, I believe, ended with, I guess Loki's army coming back and taking over, right?
Yeah, because now the Avengers weren't there to stop him, so he easily took over the world. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. And Brandon, how about yourself, man? Out of all these episodes, anything impact you a little bit more than the rest, or anything that you liked more than the rest?
More so that Hank Pym is responsible for destroying many multiverses. To be honest, I feel like this series could have used what WandaVision did, where every episode was a different length. Just because, I feel like, especially episode 3 with the Avengers dying, I felt like that could have been stretched a little bit more, to tell a fuller story. Because everything kind of happened very suddenly, where some things could have been fleshed out more. The Doctor Strange one, I think was appropriate in length, but the Marvel Zombies one, I wish was a little longer, just because, as much as I liked it, it was also very cheesy, because it was a zombie movie ripoff. It was take for take zombie movie. But there were things that I wish got. Yeah, I wish there was a little bit more to certain stories, like with Spider-Man and such. I love the way it ended. Acknowledging that events still took place, and this is the way this was going to happen anyway. And like you said, very dark in terms of storylines, and I think that's okay to see that the good guys don't win all the times, and this is what happened when the good guys didn't win. The Doctor Strange one, I think, was the most powerful one for me. Just because, just the way, not even the way it ended. The way it ended was so powerful. Him just saying, "I'm sorry," and the credits rolled. But, the whole purpose of the episode was just I need to do whatever I can to bring her back, and I'll find anything in my power to do so, because I can be the Sorcerer Supreme. Just that whole concept of doing everything that I can and seeing all the repercussions of it. Seeing her die, which is a trope for another movie. But just watching her die over and over and over, you can actually understand how he became that Doctor Strange at the end.
Yeah, man, and that's the one that affected me the most also, man, because when that one went to the credits and we started seeing the drawings of the background, I was like, I was stuck there just looking at the screen going, how do you end like that? I'm like, there's got to be more to this story because that's horrible. Like, collapsed a universe into himself. Yeah, man. I just don't understand that one was just flat out nuts from him taking on these either demons or other beings or souls he was taking on, and his face transforming, his body transforming because he was doing all this stuff. Yeah. And then when you find out the reveal that is it the Ancient One is her name?
Sorcerer Supreme, the Ancient One, yeah.
The Ancient One. When you realize that she split him into two beings, one living his way that he normally lived, and then this being that lived this other way, dude, I was just like, this is awesome. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. But the Marvel Zombies, man, that was I just had a good time watching that one, even though it was like, again, a bad ending. But it was just so interesting to see how everything happened, to see that the fact that, for most part, zombies in these zombie movies always play the same thing, brains,
Yeah.
And just I think 28 Days was the one that changed the game where the zombies were running. I was just like, I never saw that before where zombies were running. It's like, how do they know how to run? They're just usually walking everywhere with, Romero's, Night of the Living Dead there.
Yeah.
But then this way of showing that these zombies can still do things, I thought made it interesting. I mean, Sans, what'd you feel about seeing like Iron Man still be able to use his repulsor rays, the Wizards still doing their sling ring thing, even though they're zombies?
I mean, it just made it crazy because you hadn't really seen it that way. Because we're used to the Marvel universe being one way, and you just realize that if you just make like Brandon was saying, make these subtle little change, one subtle change here or there, and you end up with a completely different situation, and it just really makes you scared for that. Just in general, like thinking about how any little change that you make to anything could have catastrophic, repercussions.
Yeah. How about you, B-Man? Any thoughts now with, it seems like every episode, the Watcher is getting closer and closer to interfering. He's going to interfere, huh, Brandon?
Oh, yeah, definitely by the end. Definitely by the last episode. And it was, I think it lends its hand in just the way he does every intro. Every beginning is talking about how I will never interlude because I am the Watcher. So like, but then every episode,
my job is to watch.
But then like every episode, he's just
Creepy.
like, oh, like this one kind of sucks. Like I should probably step in, but I should watch. Like so Doctor Strange episode where they had a conversation. I was like, all right, so yeah, he proves the fact that one of these episodes he's gonna step in. Something's gonna happen, and he's gonna have to preserve that universe.
Yeah. Now I know these are the ones that were rumored. I know they were rumored with the Peggy show, and that's the first one we got. I know we had rumors of the Marvel Zombies. I didn't expect that Doctor Strange one. That was kind of crazy. Yeah. Al, is there anyone that you know of, or any story you think we might hear in these What If series? Because from my understanding, there's a couple more still left. I think we got like 4 or 5 more episodes.
Oh wow. Honestly, I don't know. I never knew. Like I had heard of What If, but I never heard of in detail of any of the stories that they went through with the What Ifs. The one I've always heard of, and I would have liked to have seen it played out, but I don't think it was a What If. Is what if the Hulk fought Wolverine? But that was one that I always would have liked to have seen. But
yeah,
it's too soon. They haven't introduced them yet, so we definitely can't see that one. But
what if there were mutants?
Yeah, the whole world would explode if we heard that one coming.
No, but I just like, I like seeing them go through these stories and showing a surprise. Like, so I just want to see what next Marvel story that they've already introduced us to us and see how they can flip it by one little thing changing.
All right, man. And then we're going to have one last question on this What If series here. And Al, I'll go with you first, and Sanj and B. Al, your thoughts. Do you think any of these What If universes or stories or characters have any more meaning than these What If series? Like, do you think we're going to see some of these people or some of these universes in play in the overall MCU somewhere?
I think we might see the Captain Carter Only because of the series. Actually, we might see the Doctor Strange, because from the No Way Home preview, somebody pointed out, and I thought it was a good observation, that Strange always shakes his hand. His hands always twitch because he lost his hands in our original universe. But that supposedly in the No Way Home trailer, his hands don't twitch. So when he's doing his magic, his hands don't twitch. So there was a lot, a conjecture that, is this the Strange from the episode we just saw? But realistically, the one I really think we can see is probably Captain Carter. Like, I can see them bringing her into the show. You have the Captain Carter was was a favorite character. They even gave her a show for a little run there, and I can see them bringing her back.
Yeah, Sanj, how about for you, man? Any characters from this that you would want to see put into the MCU for real?
Well, I would agree with Al about the Doctor Strange, because everything that we've seen so far seems to point towards the multiverse and the breaking of the multiverse. So that story right there seems to be right in line with where they're going with the next set of movies. So it would be interesting to see if that character somehow had a role in fixing everything. Like sort of like a redemption arc, since he still has a lot of power. From everything that he absorbed. And he's still there. So his universe has collapsed into one point, but it still exists.
Gotcha, man. How about for you, B? Any hope to see any of these characters in the MCU or the Watcher himself or anything like that?
I don't know if we'll see the Watcher, and I don't. My thinking was that this was going to be like a 6-episode series, but then I saw that we had like 5 episodes more to go. Yeah. And my thinking is, if we're going to see anybody, I believe we'll possibly see Captain Carter make an appearance in either a show or just kind of a glimpse in one of the movies, but not like in a role kind of a thing, just show it off. But I'm interested now to see if any of the next 5 episodes have anything to do with this multiverse of madness, where I like the theory of the Doctor Stranges meeting each other, but I feel like that Doctor Strange would be too powerful. Maybe he becomes Nemesis, maybe he's the villain of his own movie, or Nightmare, whatever it is. But I want to see maybe if in the next 5 episodes we get a different story or a continuation of one. Like, I thought maybe the Captain Carter one would have a second part to it, or even the T'Challa story would have a second part, just the way they ended.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to these episodes, and I think those are the ones that I've heard of: Zombies, Captain Carter, the bad event, the Avengers dying. I've heard all these like rumors of these stories coming. I really don't know what these next 4 or 5 episodes are coming, but there was one thought out there that they may link up some of these characters to form like their own version of the Universal Avengers or this alternate universe Avengers, but we'll see what happens. But we'll do our best to talk about those episodes on What If next week if those come out. And I believe next week we might be doing a prep for Venom. I think Venom comes out the week after, so we'll watch Venom this week and get you guys ready for Venom 2. Let There Be Carnage on the following week there. So listen, that's going to be us for tonight, guys. I appreciate you guys listening and watching, as you guys always do. You guys watch on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Let us be a part of your weekly routine of watching these shows about movies. If you're listening on a podcast, hit that little plus symbol. Keep us up to date on there with you, so that way whenever we put our podcasts out, you guys get access to those podcasts as well. So coming out of Long Island, New York, we got my bro Sanj.
Be safe, everybody, and have a good night.
We got our man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
We got my brother B.
Adios, everybody.
Yes, and myself, Hob, saying, guys, go watch Malignant and laugh with us. But seriously, thank you guys for always watching, subscribing, and doing all the things you guys do to keep us going. And thank you. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. We'll talk again. Till next time.